hope your day is going well. I am Princess Beulah Achinike, and this is
Petra Clement.
And I'm William Smell, the Odiki by name.
And we are
the Extensionist. And this is the Extension Talk Show. On this show, we will be your host and we will take you through training sessions in every episode.
Yes, we are poised to distill issues around all spheres of agriculture, laced with some sociological and economical issues.
Be rest assured that you'll be getting topical issues, topical analysis, and thought-provoking points from our highly esteemed scholars.
So sit back as we go on a break. After the break, we'll unveil to you our package for the day.
The program will be back in a short while. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. The rate at which the world is going, humans need to work extremely hard to ensure that there is balance in the society.
It is this desire for a balanced society that has led to the rise of the Sustainable Development Goals. And these goals aim to achieve a comfortable life for humans by 2030.
The SDG goal has suffered some setback because some persons are yet to understand what the goals are and what they stand for. But on this episode, our guests and analysts will make reasonable effort to look at some of these goals and how best to achieve them on or before 2030.
Continue to stay glued as we bring you to the SDG goals in details. Enjoy viewing.
My name is Professor Olufemi Adesope. I'm going to be moderating this session, and our emphasis here is on the Sustainable Development Goals. And I would like to talk about industry, infrastructure, and innovations. I have with me a panel of discussants who I would like them to introduce themselves before we start.
My name is Petra Clement.
My name is Deko Gospel Baidora.
My name is Uniport Success Irogene.
Well, thank you very much and welcome to the show. I would like to start by asking, what is SDG Goal 9 all about?
SDG Goal 9 is all about building resilient infrastructures, promoting sustainable industrialization, and fostering innovation. In developing countries like Nigeria, the majority of the population resides in the rural areas and they depend on agriculture for their livelihood. Limited connectivity and access to markets due to weak infrastructures and isolation affects their livelihood and also food security. So this goal aims at improving the rural infrastructure, strengthening rural markets and rural urban linkages to create a more vibrant and interconnected society.
Can we hear from any other person?
Okay, just give us the basics about this SDG goal. It is mostly about creating a link between the rural and the urban markets, linking them in every way possible, and we can't do this without industries, innovations, and infrastructure.
Oh, thank you very much. Let's ask this question now. Can you elaborate on the difference between the three terms of innovation, infrastructure, and industry?
Okay, these three terms are the major key drivers of economic growth. Most times they are used interchangeably because they are interconnected. Okay, but because they are used interchangeably, people feel like, oh, they are the same thing. No, they are not. They are very different. First of all, industries. Industry refers to the part of the sector of the economy that deals with production and sales of goods and services. They range from small-scale businesses to multinational corporations, and they are very important because they aid in improving employment. They create job opportunities. Without industries, there will be less jobs. And then, secondly, we have innovations. Innovations simply refers to creation and implementation of new ideas, products, processes, services, or anything that adds value to the economy. We can have innovations. Innovations can arise as a result of research findings. It can be as a result of trying to find solutions to problems, or even possibly new ways of using already existing technologies. Without innovation, there will be no competition in the market because everybody will basically doing the same thing. And lastly, we have the infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure now has to do with all physical and organizational structures and facilities that are put in place to enable better economic activities. Without infrastructure, innovations and industries will not thrive. Infrastructure now refers to things like transportation systems, communication systems, water and irrigation systems.
Well, that was very thoughtful. Can we also know those benefits? What are the benefits of industries and innovations to agriculture?
Okay, the benefits are a wide range of them, but picking just a few. First of all, the development of roads that help to create access to inputs and to farms, from like bringing the raw materials from the farms to the industries for processing and also transporting them from the industries down to the market where they are purchased by the end users. And also advanced technologies like drones and sensors have been introduced for the management of farms, so it reduces the stress of moving around to check your farm produce and all those things. Also, improved facilities for storage also helps to cut down the post-harvest losses that farmers have always been facing. It also helps to create jobs and also helps to boost the economic growth. Also, eco-friendly contributions like the renewable energy uses and also resource management, helping to bring down the emissions of greenhouse gases. When these systems are being put in place, the industries, innovations, and the infrastructure, they're also supposed to pay keen attention to their contributions to global warming and climate change.
That was good. Well, let's look at the PPP, the public-private partnership. How can the public-private partnership be utilized to enhance investment in agricultural industrialization and also infrastructural development, aligning this with the SDG 9?
Well, the goal of the SDG9 is to turn this traditional and intensive agriculture into a modern and more competitive industry. And one of the ways of doing this is by collaboration between the government and the private sectors. For instance, a collaboration between the federal government and Dangote in establishing the Dangote fertilizer industry has helped in making local fertilizers available, making it cheaper and more accessible to the farmers. And then the government can also collaborate with the private sector in the establishment of infrastructures such as good storage facilities, which will reduce post-harvest loss and also enable us to export goods due to the lack of storage facilities. Our goods are accessible when they are exported out of the country. So it is important for this collaboration to take place because the government might need financial assistance and all these things. And one of the ways the government can attract these private investors is by establishing platforms that can show the private investors the advantages of having these innovations in place to enable agriculture to improve, create jobs, and also make the economy boosted and more stable.
So, we're looking at innovation hubs to affect us generally. Well, thank you very much for that. How would you say this sustainable development goal has influenced agriculture? How has the SDG influenced agriculture?
We mostly have our farmers in rural areas, so they need infrastructures like road and communication systems to be able to access the urban market because when you have a situation of everybody producing something in one local area, you don't really have a vibrant market there. You need to extend and reach out to those who do not have this product, and those are mostly people in the urban area because they don't have farms. We have very few farms in the urban areas, apart from those who have gone into mechanized agriculture. And secondly, innovation and technologies have also aided farmers in precision agriculture. Like we always record losses due to poor storage. We record a high amount of losses, especially in our fruits and vegetable markets. So when we have certain innovation and technology that help us to improve storage, we are able to save more, and that means enabling the shelf life of these goods to be extended, and thereby helping us in the aspect of food security. When losses are reduced, more food will be made available. And when this industry is also put in place, job opportunities are created for the rural people, and it also helps with expanding rural areas. But while doing this, We should also take note that there are also negative impacts of these industries. For example, we have oil spillage on waters from some oil companies and all of that. While implementing this SDG9, it's very important for us to take these negative impacts into place and try to mitigate them as much as possible.
I think you also touched on what I'm going to ask next about limiting factors to achieving the SDG 9. What are these limiting factors?
Basically, there are two major limiting factors to this goal. This one is the issue of funds. We talk about building infrastructures and industries, but this change is feasible mostly in developed countries like China and much harder and difficult in developing countries like Nigeria because we do not have the funds or the resources to fund this change. Another factor, limiting factor, is the issue of climate change. So beyond talk of building infrastructure and industries, if this goal is going to take up use much energy, it's going to increase the carbon emissions in the atmosphere. So it's very difficult to focus on this goal when there has been a decision by the United Nations framework on climate change to reduce atmospheric temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Thank you for that. Why is innovation relevant in achieving the SDG Goal 9? Why is innovation relevant?
Okay, innovation is very relevant because I mentioned earlier that when everybody is doing the same thing in a particular area, you have limited buyers who is actually acquiring what you're doing. All of us are doing the same thing. So we need new ideas. We need new technologies. We need new ways of doing things. To it drives competition in the economy. And when there is competition in the economy automatically expands and it grows. So without innovation, everything will basically be the same. I'll be running around in circles, having very less competition and limited economic growth. So innovation is very important for a sustainable economic growth.
I think in contemporary times, that's a major item that should be on the table. Lastly, in conclusion, what would you say are your recommendations for the attainment of the SDG Goal 9? What are your recommendations? What would you recommend?
For these goals to be achievable, there are certain things that need to be put in place. For example, in Nigeria, we don't have steady light. It is something that attracts investors where there is light and security. So the government has to make sure that there is availability of energy that if investors will be able to use when they decide to create industries or infrastructures in this country. Then also there has to be good road networks. The road networks are not good in Nigeria. They cause a lot of hesitancy among these people that are transporting these goods and services from one place to the other. So there has to be major infrastructure in place for this economy to thrive.
I'm trying to look at it from this angle. Just before now, we talked about the PPP, the public-private partnership. We shouldn't leave everything for government. Apart from the government providing enabling environment, I think the private sector has a role also to play here. We need to strengthen the public-private sector part of it. The issue of renewable energy, the issue of biogas, and all of this. I think the private sector will go a long way in helping to foster this. Well, I want to thank you very much. It's been a very rewarding session. While we close this session, I want to thank you for coming, and we hope that some of these recommendations go far and help us to grow our economy. Thank you, and God bless you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we'll be talking briefly about climate change and the action that is happening around to mitigate climate change. So I will be hearing from you the different aspects of climate change and the climate action, things that are being done, practices and strategies that are being taken by different countries, different sectors to mitigate climate change. So for us to start, I think it is good we understand what climate change is all about.
All right, so briefly tell us what climate change is all about.
Climate change is a long-term shift in temperature and weather pattern, which could be as a result of human activities such as burning of fossil fuel and deforestation.
Could be as a result of human action, human actions that would do what?
Human actions such as burning of fossil fuel and deforestation, which could actually cause harm to our climate and weather.
I want to believe that you mean those human actions that contribute to emission of more greenhouse gases. All those things that we do that contribute to more emission of greenhouse gases. So when we involve or indulge in such activities, it could cause what we call global warming and cause climate change. Thank you very much. So,
can you just briefly discuss what the Sustainable Development Goal 13 that is on climate action, what is it all about?
Sustainable Development Goal 13 is all about addressing the problem of climate changes and its impact. The goal is to find solutions and ways to reduce the climate changes in our society. It has a few aspects that has been outlined to achieve this. Through pollution, through reducing of pollution. This can be achieved by reducing greenhouse emission by vehicles, reducing waste in the society, and reducing of fossil burning, fossil fuel, and deforestation. Another way is by developed countries to help the less developed nations. Some advanced countries have these technologies, so by this they can help those countries that are still less. And another focus is to educate people. Many people don't know the impact of this climate action or changes in the society. So by educating them, they know the hazard that the climate actions can cause to the environment. Thank you very much.
all right, thank you. That was a very good one. Educating people who are concerned, because many people don't even understand what climate change is all about. A typical example is the sector where you belong, the agricultural sector, where you have to deal with the rural people who are experiencing the change in climate, facing the threats and the risks, but they don't even understand what climate change is all about. So educating them, teaching them what climate change is all about is the very first step to dispose them to adopt some of the viable adaptation strategies. Thank you very much. That was a good one. All right, so going forward, we want to know what are the causes of this climate change. We always hear it, the weather is changing, the climate in general is changing, we're experiencing more heat, we're experiencing fluctuations in rainfall, we're experiencing high temperature, a lot of extreme weather events. So, what do you think are the causal agents of this climate change?
There are several causes of climate change. First of all, deforestation. Now, we have what is called deforestation and afforestation. Afforestation is the planting of trees. Deforestation is the cutting of trees. Now, these trees help to absorb carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is a dangerous gas, which when emitted into the atmosphere causes climate change. So deforestation causes climate change in a way that when the trees are cut down, the trees cannot absorb the carbon dioxide. So therefore, carbon dioxide then is being released into the atmosphere, which leads to climate change. That's for deforestation. Then another cause of climate change is we know that there are many vehicles on the road that when they drive, you feel that they emit a lot of smokes on the road. Yeah, and most of those vehicles releases carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. It's another key thing that leads to climate change. Another thing is burning of fossil fuels, like it's being done in most oil and gas companies. Burning of fossil fuels like coal, natural gas, and oil. All those things lead to climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You dwelt much on human factors contributing to climate change. As we earlier heard from the previous speakers, that climate change is caused by more emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. There are so many of them, but one of the major one is the carbon dioxide that you mentioned, and you mentioned deforestation, which could actually reduce the number of trees that remove this greenhouse gas from the atmosphere. Well, we also know that there could also be some natural events that could contribute to climate change. We hear about volcanic eruptions and all of that, that when they happen, they emit some of these greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So it's very good hearing from you, educating us on things we do that cause this climate change, like burning of fossil fuels, especially in the rural areas where most people use firewood, they use charcoal and all of that. So I believe that as we hear the things that causes climate change and we all are victims or culprits, it is a call for us to do what? To desist from such things, find alternative ways that are more environmental friendly. Thank you so much. So, what do you actually mean by the term climate action?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Climate action is the actions that are taken to combat climate change. It involves all the processes, everything that has to be done to make sure that the effect of climate change is reduced. And this action was put together by the United Nations in the year 2015, and its major aim is to combat climate change. And there are steps that are actually that they take to make sure that this climate change effect is combated. And such steps include renewable energy, carbon capture and storage, and then sustainable agriculture. Thank you.
We also want to know more. How does climate action contribute to sustainable development?
Okay, climate action can contribute to sustainable development by building climate resilience. By resilience, I mean the ability of a system to recover or rebuild. So, climate actions are measures put in place to ensure resilience and adaptation to the effects of climate change. These measures could be strengthening the infrastructure and also educating people about the effect of climate change. Also, these measures could be promoting sustainable agricultural practices.
Okay, thank you very much for that detailed explanation. I think we can bring this climate change discussion down to the agricultural sector to help us bring it home and better understand it. It will also help our audience to understand what we are talking about. We are looking at how climate action can contribute to sustainable development. Some of the earlier speakers made us to understand that this climate change is affecting livelihoods. Livelihood of almost everyone in every sector, even those in agricultural sector inclusive. So if there are no climate actions to help them adapt to climate change, it could also impact their farming activities negatively. Take for instance, when farmers, there are sometimes we experience drought, even in the midst of rainy season. Sometimes they experience the first rain and they plant their seeds. Then when the seeds start germinating, suddenly dry season comes up. And you see a lot of them losing their crops to the extreme heat. Crops that are supposed to be germinating and growing, most of them will experience stunted growth because of the cessation in rainfall. And when such things happen, you see that it affects the harvest at the end of the day, because there will be massive loss by from the farm activities. So if such things are not curtailed, if there are no actions taken by maybe the government intervention agencies to help farmers adapt to these changes in climate, it will affect their income generation power. And the poverty, reduction of poverty that is one of the sustainable development goals, it will not be easily achieved. So it will, in the whole, affect the sustainable development goal. So taking climate action is important because it will help the rural people to generate more income and experience a better standard of living. All right, thank you very much. That was a very good explanation. Okay, it's important we also understand some of the pressing climate change challenges that we are facing in Nigeria, especially in the agricultural sector. What are some of the pressing challenges that we are facing, and how can we maybe mitigate or adapt to those things?
Okay, some of the pressing climate change challenges we are facing in Nigeria. There are so many of the challenges we are actually facing, but one of the pressing ones we have is actually flooding. So when you talk about flooding is a process where a lot of water, excessive rainfall. So because of the climate change happening in Nigeria currently, we are experiencing high level of flooding in the country. So with high level of flooding in the country, we can see that agricultural sector is affected heavily due to flooding. So when flooding affects the farms and homes and livelihoods of humans, you see that it has displaced people and actually affecting humans and lives and low yield of agricultural products. So secondly, we have drought and desertification. So when we talk about drought and desertification, drought is just like the process of low rainfall, just abnormal low rainfall in a particular geographical area. Currently in Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, states like Kwara State, Borno State, Kebbi State, and Kano State, we are actually facing a situation where we have a lot of drought and desertification because of low rainfall. You see that crops are not, the way crops are being produced previously in years like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we don't have so much yield anymore in other parts of the country. Because of the climate action and climate changes actually happening, there is so much reduction in the yield of crops. So a possible solution can be government planting more trees. When we get to plant trees, you see that it tries to sustain water. It actually stores water in the trees, and possibly education too. The government can educate farmers and people also in the agricultural sector. With these education, it can also help us so much in mitigating climate change. And thirdly, one of the pressing change and challenge I think we have in Nigeria is also loss of biodiversity. Loss of biodiversification. So when we talk about loss of biodiversification, it is a loss of microorganisms. No more variety of microorganisms, in specific geographical area. So when there is loss of microorganisms and loss of animals and plants, which are supposed to be in a particular geographical area, you see that our plants are being affected, and there's actually low yield of agricultural products. So what government can do to us, is to help, build drainage systems. If you build a good drainage system, because flooding can actually take away the lives of these microorganisms and actually destroy their habitat. So when the habitats are being destroyed, we can see that we are being affected as a country in general.
Wow, that was a very good one. Very good one. I don't think there's anybody in the country that has not heard of the flooding incidences that we've been having. It's something that is affecting every sector, both those in the agricultural sector, those in other sectors, because when it happens, it affects people's livelihood, their settlements, and all of that. And for those of us in agricultural sector, we see farmers not just losing their crops, but also their farmland. So it's a very huge one, and the problem of drought, it is something that we all are experiencing, and even the rural settlements that we used to know in those days, for their richness in biodiversity, we don't see all those things again because of the extreme weather change. Thank you very much. That was a very good one. And then the government can do a lot about this, as well as proper education, helping to render these advisory services to the rural people who are facing most of these challenges, educating them on how they can adapt to some of these strange changes that they are experiencing. Thank you very much. All right, we are almost getting to the end of this discussion. Before we close, I think it will also be very important for our audience to understand how climate action affects the weather pattern.
Climate action can affect weather patterns by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, improving renewable energy sources, and by implementing adaptation measures, and by fostering reforestation and land restoration, and by encouraging sustainable agricultural practices.
All right. Thank you very much for that very insightful and enlightening discussion. I want to believe that those responsible have heard most of the issues you raised and some of the actions that can be taken to mitigate and help rural people adapt to climate change. It's a very good one, very insightful, very enlightening. Thank you. We hope to have more of you in subsequent sessions. Thank you.
I'm glad you're still there. It's obvious that the world and its inhabitants are looking for solutions to some of the problems we are facing. Enjoy the next episode.
Life always poses challenges, but with adequate knowledge, humans always find a way to overcome these challenges. So let's go back as we see the next set of goals addressed by the next group of analysts. Stay tuned.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Uzamaka Akwiwu. I'm an agri-extension expert with research interest in extension services and gender equality. So this afternoon, we're going to talk about gender equality, and I have very brilliant minds with me that would expand on this topic and help us understand it better. So to my right, can you introduce yourself, young lady?
My name is West Favor.
My name is Ian Ajochidebe.
Okay, and to my right?
I'm Alapu Favor Evans. And I'm William Smeldin Odiki by name.
My name is Ekenobi Providence.
Okay. Now, gender equality, we've heard the word so many times, and it is one of the Sustainable Development Goals, the 5th Sustainable Development Goal. So what does gender equality entail?
Okay. Gender equality is one of the 17th Sustainable Development Goals established by the United Nations in their 2030 agenda. It focuses on women and girls. Now, the main aim of gender equality is the main aim of SDG 5 is gender equality, as we all know, and empowerment of women and girls. So they realize that gender equality is not just a human right for women and girls, but it's also like a crucial drive for sustainable development.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, why is gender equality important?
We are all human beings and all of us deserve to be treated equally. So SDG 5 gender equality goal is important because it aims to promote equal rights and opportunity for all genders, and it also eliminates discrimination and violence against women and girls, and it promotes women and it helps women and girls to achieve their full potential. You see, this goal recognizes that gender inequality is a pervasive issue that affects the economic growth, social development, and human rights. When women are empowered, they can contribute to their families, the community, and the society as a whole, which will lead to better health, education, and economic outcomes for all of us.
Thank you. One word we're taking out of what you have said today is that we are all human beings. We are all equal. Thank you very much. Now, what are the key challenges that hinder progress towards achieving gender equality?
Yeah, some of the key challenges that hinders this attainment of this goal is the gender stereotype, where the society tends to adjudicate each jobs to a certain gender. Like you see in the society where driving of heavy trucks is mainly for men, like in the agricultural sector. Driving of heavy duty trucks like the harrows, the plows, they view it as a job just for the guys and not for the women. So I think this is very wrong. Everybody and every individual, just like my colleague said, should have an equal platform to achieve their goals and their ambition. Again, we see something like violence against women in the society, where mostly the girls and the women are targeted. In a society where gender mutilation still happens in female areas, is very, very wrong and very abusive. So I'm thinking the key challenges we have to take away from this is the violence against women and the gender stereotype.
Yeah, one of the key words and the key challenge we have in gender equality, according to the last speaker and his rights anyway, is gender stereotype. We believe that this is for men, this is for women, and nothing more. And women are the worst hit. Women and girls are the worst hit with this stereotype. And so we know that everybody should be given equal opportunity to attain and do whatever they want to do. Thank you. So now, how can women be empowered for sustainable livelihood?
Okay, that would be giving equal rights to economic resources as well as access to own lands and other properties. Because in the past, where women were denied access to own lands, especially amongst the Igbos and the Yorubas, they were denied access to own lands. But with the help of the SDG Goal 5, they've been given the opportunity to own lands and properties in Nigeria.
Yeah. So for sustainable livelihood, we have resources. Everybody should have equal access to those resources. And I like the fact that you mentioned that things are changing. Women now do work that were ordinarily reserved for men. Women now even inherit lands. Women even inherit from their father's homes. Women have equal, well, to a large extent, to education and to any height they want to take it to. So yeah, we're seeing changes, even though it's not as what we expect. Okay, and so how can we promote gender equality in workplace?
Promoting gender equality in the workplace is a concerted effort from all the stakeholders, including the employers, the employees, policymakers, and the society as a whole. There are different ways to promote gender equality, and some of the ways are by encouraging diversity and inclusivity. So employers should actively work to create a diverse and inclusive workplace culture that values all employees regardless of gender. Another way is to eliminate gender bias because we see in some organizations women are not allowed to attain some executive positions, and some are not even paid equally as the men because of their gender. So employers should take steps to eliminate gender bias in the hiring process, promotion, and their pay scales. Other ways are by providing equal opportunities for women and men, and also creating family-friendly policies like flexible work schedule and like parental leaves, childcare facilities to support working parents, especially mothers. They should also advocate for policy changes that promote gender equality, like equal pay policies and anti-discrimination policies. So that will help in promoting gender equality in the workplace.
Thank you. So employers should be conscious of the gender equality goal. And the interesting thing about it is there is no feminine way of doing a work. There is no masculine way of doing a work. If we are to be in the bank, there is no female banking, there is no male banking. The work is the work. And so we should make it comfortable for both men and women to actualize in anything they set out to do. Thank you. Now, has there been any improvement since the implementation of this rule?
Okay, I'll say several positive developments has been seen since the implementation of this law. You see that most countries they've taken up legal reforms to implement laws that guide gender equality and domestic violence against women. And funny as it sounds, now you see women are represented in political and economic spaces in the society where laws, where rules, where things are being deliberated on. And most women and ladies and girls have been seen going to school, and there's been this how there have been these involvements in their academics, and ladies are not forced into early marriage as it seems in the past anymore. However, significant challenges still persist, even as many other countries are striving towards betterment of gender equality. You see that some other countries are still having gender disparity. So we need to put in more efforts to see that gender equality is being handled.
That's true. We've seen significant improvement since the Sustainable Development Goal came into place. But like you said, we have a lot more ground to cover. There are challenges, more things need to be done. Thank you. So, from the discussion so far, what are your suggestions as a way forward?
Thank you very much for that question. If I get your question very much, when you said the way forward, you're trying to say ways you can promote gender equality, right? Okay, some of the ways you can promote gender equality are: one, eliminate gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is one of the biggest barriers to gender equality. So effort should be made to eliminate all forms of gender-based violence, including physical, emotional, and even sexual abuse. So this can be done through a public awareness campaign, educational programs, and even legislative measures. The another way is to promote equal opportunity. Gender equality itself is providing equal opportunity for male and female in all aspects of life, including our educational aspects, our employment, and even politics. So I think government and organizations should work together to create a level playing field for men and women, in, ensuring that women are not discriminated against in any form. Another way is I would say increasing women's representation. Women are often underrepresented in several sectors, and some of these sectors are politics, sciences, and even education. So I feel effort should be made to increase women representation in these aspects, in these sectors. And some ways you can achieve this is through affirmative action policies. Then we have the quotas. There are other ways of promoting gender equality. Then another thing is improve women access to healthcare. Women face unique health challenges, so I think it is important that government and organizations improve women access to healthcare, including reproductive healthcare. The another one is empower women economically. I think they should provide credit for them and also ensure that they are paid equally for their work, not underpayment or whatever. The another one I'll talk about lastly is foster gender responsive policies. So government and organizations should come together to create government gender responsive policies that will eliminate any form of discrimination against gender inequality. In conclusion, I want to say to achieve gender equality, it is a concerted effort of both governments, organizations and even individuals, and it is important that we create awareness continuously against any form of gender inequality.
You are right. You kept stressing on creating awareness, educating people on the need to see humans as who they are and treat them equally. And I like the balance you brought to it. When we focus on only women and then put the men at disadvantage, it spoils the balance. When we focus on only men and put women, it spoils the balance. So when we talk of gender equality, we are talking of equal rights, equal opportunity for both men and women. And we can't achieve this if we don't pay attention to the vulnerable group. For a long time, it has been girls and women who are at the receiving ends. So we must work together to say no to gender-based violence, especially on girls and women. Thank you very much.
In this series, we'll be talking about no poverty. It's one of the Sustainable Development Goals. My name is Professor Lufemi Adesokwe, and with me, I have a panel of discussants who I would like them to introduce themselves.
My name is Progress Ubechi.
My name is Sophia Chimchezu. I'm Princess Beulah Chuku.
Well, thank you. Let's start by asking, in summary, what is Sustainable Development Goal 1 all about?
Sustainable Development Goal 1 is the no poverty goal among the 17 goals in our nation or in the globe. And this goal aims to eradicating poverty, extreme poverty in the globe by the end of 2030. But there has been an increased decline in this goal because of the COVID-19 pandemic that happened in the year 2020. Which brought about a massive impact on the reversal of this goal. And also the war in Ukraine also made this goal not to have an impact or a greater impact on the society. Because when these things happen, it tends to bring about poverty because agricultural production will reduce, and we know that agricultural production helps this poverty not to be in high increase or high percentage in our society.
All right, thank you for that. Let's look at how does Sustainable Development Goal 1 aim to address the issue of poverty on a global scale now?
SDG 1 aims to address poverty through a multi-dimensional approach that includes strategies such as enhancing inclusive economic growth, implementing social security protection systems such as National Health Insurance Scheme, fostering resilience among vulnerable people, and increasing access to basic services.
Now, what can we say are the basic aims of this SDG 1? And the major key aims of SDG 1?
So the key aim of this SDG goal was to reduce poverty rate in the world, to increase basic sales and services, to ensure that the common people that cannot provide most of these infrastructures and amenities that they need are not left behind, they are included, and to eradicate extreme poverty and reduce inequality worldwide.
Right. So the emphasis is on reducing extreme poverty, especially to the marginalized. Now, in your opinion, what role should government play in reducing or eliminating poverty by the year 2030, which is just about 7 years from now?
In my own opinion, I think government should strengthen agricultural extension service by providing farmers with knowledge, training, and technical support. Extension worker can disseminate information on best agricultural practices with harvest management and market intelligence.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Now, the next question is, what are the key factors contributing to poverty in both developed and developing countries?
Some key factors contributing to poverty are limited access to education, limited access to basic services, healthcare and clean water, gender discrimination, environmental degradation, income inequality.
We also have unproductive employment rate because in our society now, those in the poverty line tend to have a minimum jobs that give them minimum income at the end of the day. So this is some kind of a limiting factor to poverty.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now, so what are the problems we can say poor people, especially in Nigeria, face?
Alright, I will start by saying that eradicating poverty is not just a charitable task, but it is an act of justice. So some of the problems that poor people face are social discrimination. They also have hunger. They have they sometimes don't even, they are homeless. Sometimes they don't even have good adequate care to give their children. So I would say that the government should try to be able to provide stimulate economic growth.
All right. How does investment in social protection program aid eradication of no poverty in Nigeria?
So investment in social protection programs helps to reduce poverty rates and provide a safety net for those people that are not able to provide some services for themselves. And I'll be speaking mostly on the cash transfer policy. So for most smallholder farmers and small scale farmers that don't understand how to do mobile transfers, and the technology arising in this period where most sales are done mobilely, you don't necessarily have to hold cash to patronize farmers. Yes. So in 2012, the government brought about a program called the Growth Enhancement Support Scheme. They helped farmers to supply fertilizers. Most of the farmers were registered online. They did it in a way where fertilizer can be supplied to farmers by mobile transfer. So if we can build more on those aspects, on the online transfer, helping farmers, teaching them how to use e-commerce more, how to sell their products online. And for example, like farmers in, let me say in the north that have customers in the south or in other areas, they don't necessarily have to see the products before buying them. So you can take pictures of the products and then money can be transferred technologically wired to their accounts, and sales are made easy and accessible to them.
So the digitalization process is being emphasized here.
Yes.
Finally, how can government and policy makers promote inclusive economic growth to reduce poverty?
Yeah, government and policymakers can promote inclusive economic growth by implementing policy that will support job creation, infrastructure, investment, and creating jobs to rural areas by, quality education also to the rural environment. So.
All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Adding to the policy making, it's not just by implementing policy, but I should make sure that this policy is working. Because we live in a society whereby after implementing the policy, like there is no working force to make sure that this policy is being implemented in our environments.
So government should ensure that these policies are enforced. You know, it's not just we should go beyond just talking about it. We should implement, ensure that they are workable. Well, thank you very much. I want to thank you for coming to this session on no poverty, and I hope, even as we have deliberated on this, we'll be able to move further, and within the next 7 years, we'll be able to reduce poverty as much as we can. You know, the MDG was able to have poverty by 50%. Now the SDG should go further than that. We are believing that this is workable, all things being equal. So I want to thank you again for coming. Thank you.
We're here to expand and educate ourselves on the topic, is it zero hunger or serious hunger? Zero hunger. Okay, so this is one of the Millennium Development Goals. Yeah, the goal, the idea is to eliminate hunger by the year 2050. Well, in our world, we know that hunger is the leading cause of death: hunger, starvation, malnourishment. And it's unfortunate it is happening in our planet Earth, where we have so much resources. But the problem we have is, even where there is food, there is unequal access to this food. Even though we have abundance of these resources, there are poor management of these resources, and so we have declining soil fertility and then climate change combined with population boom. So this afternoon I have these brilliant minds that will expand on this topic and, you know, throw more light on it. So to my left, can you introduce yourself to us?
My name is Precious Onyecho Bonda.
Okay.
I'm Ekweme Silvanus.
Okay, and on my right here?
I'm Isaiah Basini. My name is Nancy Asaba. I am Wekucha.
Okay, thank you. And I'm Dr. Uzabaka Akwiwu, an expert in the field of agricultural extension, and my research interest is on food and nutrition. So let's go. What do you understand by Sustainable Development Goal, Zero Hunger?
Zero hunger is the second SDG goal, and for this goal, there is a prevalence of undernutrition, there is a prevalence of cerebral food insecurity, and a prevalence of stunted growth among children between the age of 5. And for this goal is aimed at ending hunger, achieving food security, improving nutrition, and also promoting sustainable agriculture, whereby by the year 2030 there will be accessibility of food, there will be availability of food, and we'll be able to get this food at an affordable rate.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We hope that by 2030 we will get this food at affordable rates and eliminate hunger. Now, who are the major targets of this goal?
The major targets of zero hunger are children. Why are children the major targets of zero hunger? Children are considered to be in their developmental stage, so they need all the essential nutrients, all the vitamins that they can get to properly develop and grow. In 2015, it was found that 149 million children were found to have stunted growth. They were found to have delayed cognitive skills. They were found to have deficiencies due to lack of nutrients. And they were also found to have weakened immune system that led to contracting of different diseases those ones that might even lead to mortality. So children were the major targets of this goal because they were susceptible to different kind of things at that very tender age.
Okay, we've heard that children are the major target of this sustainable development goal of eliminating hunger. And I hope we no longer have societies where eating egg and meat is a taboo among children because they need this food for their development stage. Okay. Now, what are the targets with this goal?
The targets of the Zero Hunger Goal are to eradicate hunger and ensure security and access to safe, nutritious foods, especially, in fact, to all people, but most especially to vulnerable population, which are children, just like my colleague said, pregnant women, breastfeeding women, and to the elderly. The Zero Hunger Goal also aims at eradicating malnutrition, such as stunting, wasting, obesity, and other forms of malnutrition. The Zero Hunger Goal also aims at developing agricultural productivity and income of small-scale farmers, such as women. Many women actually do small-scale farming, pastoralists, and fishermen and women. The goal also targets improving access to markets. Many productions, many people producing, many farmers are located in the rural areas and they lack access to markets. So the goal aims at improving market access to reduce post-harvest losses.
Thank you. Something I picked from what you said is food is not just made available, it has to be safe. So that's also nice to note. Now, is it really possible to eradicate hunger?
Yes, I think it's, to an extent, it's actually really possible to eradicate hunger. You know, the SDG goal to actually focuses on eradicating hunger, improving nutrition, and they set some strategies to when employed, will help eradicate hunger. Strategies like improving access to land and resources like inputs, improved varieties of seeds for farmers, local farmers, fertilizers, and other irrigation systems that will help enhance productivity. And also government also have a role to play. In fact, it's more like from community level, local government level, state level, federal government level. You have like combined this to play in this aspect. Like, and also have like food preservation, very important, because when these foods are produced massively, there's need to, there's need for food preservation to avoid wastage. And also there's like good marketing network also is also good, like for transportation, good road transportation, electricity is also good for the preservation of all these goods and services. We also have there are also things we can do within our own homes to help eradicate hunger. Things like home gardening. Like I grew up from a rural area where my own home we practice home gardening as an Akwa Ibom boy. We do something like water leaf, like afang, all these things, water leaf, scent leaves, all these things also help in coming together, like producing foods. We also set food on the family table. So all these things are actually very good. We also enhance, like bringing policies to bring bringing youth involved in agriculture, because they have the strength. And when you bring this youth into agriculture, you see that there will be mass production, and I think it will really help and the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. It's possible to eradicate hunger from what you have said, and thank you for stressing on the need to have home gardens and to ensure constant supply of micronutrients. And from what you have said, it is obvious that all players involved in food production and distribution have to work in synergy if we are to eradicate hunger. Thank you very much. Now, what can be done to achieve zero hunger? It's possible, but what can be done to achieve zero hunger?
We can achieve zero hunger by putting some measure into place, because the body itself is built to function by food, and if there is none, that means there will be malnutrition. But this The government will first of all come up with a program, developing some program, just as our former president Olusegun Obasanjo did Operation Feed the Nation in 1976 in order to provide surplus food for the people, as well coming up with establishment or rehabilitation of our greenhouses. Before I came to school, I was speaking with the zonal manager of ADP, Agricultural Development Program. He told that there was a time he was invited by the agricultural, the Minister of Agriculture, Mahmoud Abubakar, and he said that he wanted an advice from them on what to say to the government because he was invited. So he said that the first thing he spoke about was establishment of greenhouses, that he was disappointed that the government is not even interested in agriculture, thereby they put it aside, and that the most greenhouses, in fact all the greenhouses that is in River State or even in this nation are owned by individuals. So there should be development of program and as well rehabilitation of our greenhouses.
Thank you very much. We should develop programs. We should develop policies. Government must be involved if we are to eradicate hunger. When we leave these things to individuals, there is a limit to which what they can do. Thank you very much. Now, in your assessment, how far has the attainment of zero hunger gone?
So far, according to the current report of UN, they said, and I quote, global hunger has attained a new high. Why is that? Why did they say that? Okay, according to the recent survey in 2021, UN found that the number of hungry people have increased due to the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, due to reasons of loss of source of income. Government had to put in funds into the curbing of the virus, and many times they left out the food aspect of it all. So people tend, the number of people that were hungry tend to have doubled over these years. So have they really eradicated hunger to some point? The answer is no. They're actually at 0% of eradicating hunger, nor even curbing malnutrition. Then again, another aim they had was to increase the productivity and incomes of agricultural small-scale farmers in agriculture, especially the women. But in the recent survey, it was found that small-scale farmers still have 4 to 5 times less income than large-scale farmers, especially in underdeveloped countries. While the labor productivity of small-scale farmers in developed countries are at $45 to $142 per day, underdeveloped countries are still lacking behind with $3 per day to $13 per day. So that part has not still been able to be curbed. But again, there is good news, because in as much as it has not been achieved yet, there are things that have been put in place to achieve it. The small-scale farmers have learned in this period of time. Definitely, change takes time. So the small-scale farmers have learned new things. They have gotten new ideas. They have extension officers have worked with the government to teach and educate small-scale farmers. So in the nearest future, we hope that there will be less hunger and there will be more income. Thank you.
You know, I just love the way she answered the question directly. How far have we gone with achieving zero hunger? And she said, putting the source that in fact the hunger now is on another level. And that's why I asked, are we even talking of zero hunger or serious hunger? But my mind got calm when she said there is good news. And that is true. If we put all we have said in place, we hope that with time, even as she said that change takes time, we hope to see a turnaround in the cases of starvation and malnutrition. Thank you very much. Does Sustainable Development Goal relate with other SDG goals? If yes, how? If no, why?
Sustainable Development Goal 2, Zero Hunger, relates with other SDG goals. So my answer to that is yes. In that, Zero Hunger does not stand on its own. It relates with the Sustainable Development Goal 1, which is low poverty. In order for eradication of poverty to be achieved, we must first eradicate hunger. And Zero Hunger uses agriculture as a tool, its major tool to eradicate hunger. If we can employ people with agriculture, then they have a major tool to break down poverty. I'd say it also relates with Climate Action Goal 13. Sustainable Development Goal 2 promotes sustainable agricultural practices. If we are able to implement policies that will promote sustainable agricultural practices, then it will also contribute to the mitigation and adaptation of climatic. It also contributes to mitigation and adaptation efforts. For instance, some people are now practicing agroforestry. It's helping our climate, they are encouraging biodiversity and conserving the ecosystem. That's a very good one. I'd say Sustainable Development Goal 2 also relates to Sustainable Development Goal 3, which is good well-being, good health and well-being. In order for zero hunger to be achieved, then we also have to be in good health. Zero hunger does not just ensure food security, it also ensures safe food. It ensures that what we consume is safe, what we consume helps improve our nutrition and eradicate our malnutrition. I would say the goals are actually designed to be integrated and mutually reinforcing, so it relates with a lot of goals.
Thank you. Yeah. All the goals working in synergy is working to, make man, have better well-being. So you talk of poverty, if you eradicate poverty, you're likely to also eradicate hunger. You talk of education, you need good health, you need access, you need biodiversity, you need to preserve the environment. So all the social development goals link together. Thank you very much. Now, in conclusion, in line with the second SDG goal, which is zero hunger, what measure can be put in place to achieve zero hunger by the year 2023?
Okay, in conclusion, I'll just repeat what I've said before, because a greenhouse, as well called glass house, the plants are made to function in seasons, and the greenhouse can be put when the essence of the greenhouse is to control the temperature and the environment. There are some plants that cannot be able to grow in this our region, but through the help of the greenhouse, we can plant it here like pepper. We don't grow pepper in this place except in the north, but we can do that. Instead of waiting for the next season, we can do it in season and out of season, then making food surplus for the citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, you seem to be an advocate of that greenhouse. Yes. And then if it would ensure that food is available in season and out of season, then it's a sure way to eliminate hunger. And of course, if we have equal access to this food, it's a sure way to eliminate hunger. Thank you very much. I'm sure in this session, we are better educated on the social development goals of zero hunger. And one takeaway word we're taking away from here is that we have to work together to achieve this. the farmer, individuals, government will work together to eliminate hunger. Thank you.
Hello, I hope you had an amazing time with us during the discussion.
And I also hope you've probably understood these SDG goals as our analysts have explained.
We hope to be back again with another intriguing topic in our subsequent episodes.
And we are
The Extensionists.
Bye-bye.